Hey everyone, it's Monday, February 17th, 2025, and we've got another big weather update for you. A significant storm system is currently exiting the US, but we're still feeling its effects in a big way. Right now, we got strong winds ripping through the eastern seaboard, heavy snow piling up in the interior northeast, and that's all pushing up into Canada. It's been a major system, and as it moves out, we are going to get a brief period of quieter and cooler weather, and I know this isn't a surprise to anyone. Another storm's already on the way. We'll get into all of that in just a second. But before we do, let's talk about the storm we just went through and some of the serious impacts it left behind. So in the Northeast, we've seen a ton of snow. We're talking significant accumulations in upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. The Mid-Atlantic has been dealing with ice issues, which has made travel a nightmare. And of course, last night, we were live for 12 hours straight covering some incredibly intense severe weather. We had hail, strong winds, and over 200 reports of wind damage, particularly across Alabama and parts of Georgia, including Atlanta. Strong winds continued into this morning, causing additional damage. But before we get into the details, hit the subscribe button, like this video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. But the biggest problem with this storm by far has been the catastrophic flooding in Kentucky, Virginia, West Virginia, and Tennessee. Y'all, I cannot express just how bad the situation is. Once again, we're seeing entire communities underwater, and it just keeps happening. This is one of the worst flooding events I've ever seen in this region. Some areas saw up to 6 inches of rain in just 24 hours, and that water had nowhere to go. We're talking homes completely submerged, roads turned into rivers, and families being forced to evacuate in the middle of the night. Emergency crews have been working nonstop, doing water rescues and trying to get people to safety. But tragically, we've already lost several lives and more people are still missing. Now, let's talk about what's coming next, because we are not done yet. There's another major winter storm on the way, and it could bring significant impacts across the country. Right now, we're looking at an enhanced risk of wintry precipitation stretching from Kansas City to St. Louis down through western Kentucky and western Tennessee, and maybe even into northern Arkansas. And this system is going to be moving in fast, and by day 4, the risk for winter weather increases significantly, with a 40 probability of a major winter storm from eastern Kentucky all the way to Maryland and Delaware. Some models even suggest that this storm could strengthen and ride up the East Coast, bringing heavy snow to the I-95 corridor and interior Northeast. Let's break this down with the latest model data. Our current storm. The one causing all this mess on the East Coast is finally moving out. But by Monday morning, it'll be gone, but it's leaving behind a ton of snow in places like upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. But while that one exits, look over here. A next system is already showing up in the Pacific Northwest. By Monday morning, we could start seeing snow showers in Kansas City, and as it pulls engulf moisture, things are going to intensify. By Tuesday morning, moderate snow could be falling in eastern Kansas, and we might see some mixed precipitation around Oklahoma City. Meanwhile, the deep south, including East Texas and Southwest Louisiana, could be dealing with heavy rain and thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening. As we move into Wednesday morning, heavy snow is expected in St. Louis, wintry mix around Memphis and Little Rock, and potential snow accumulation from Middle Tennessee into eastern Kentucky. And then we've got another potential ice storm setting up along the eastern side of the Appalachians, stretching into North Carolina and South Carolina. Now, some models show this storm hugging the coast and turning into a big nor'easter. Others suggest it could just slide out to sea. Either way, it's going to bring snow. The question is how much and exactly where. Through Wednesday evening, some of the highest snowfall totals could include 10 inches in parts of eastern Kansas, a foot or more in south central Missouri, 4 or 5 inches in St. Louis, 6 inches in Kansas City, and 8-10 inches in western Kentucky and southern Illinois. The snow could reach as far south as Memphis and Little Rock, with several inches possible there too. But we also have to watch for ice. There's a real concern for significant icing across parts of Arkansas, Oklahoma, and northern Mississippi. And by Thursday, we could be looking at a major ice storm in North Carolina and South Carolina, which could lead to widespread power outages. Moving ahead to Tuesday, the 18th, this is when our big storm starts ramping up. This is a crucial moment in the forecast because how far north or south this low develops will determine the track it takes as it moves east. And that means we'll get a much clearer idea of snowfall totals and locations early on. We're looking at snowfall from Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri in particular could get hit pretty hard. Then as we move into Wednesday morning, the snow spreads into Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, West Virginia, and even into North Carolina and Virginia. Now, this is where things get really interesting. As soon as this low pressure system moves off the southeast coast, it rapidly intensifies, leading to much heavier snowfall for parts of North Carolina and Virginia. And for those of you who don't know, I live in southeastern Virginia. So if this European model is right, I could be looking at some serious snowfall, possibly even plowable amounts. And if that happens, guess what? It'll be in my February vlog. I've already been filming for it, and this storm would just be the cherry on top. If you haven't checked out the vlog channel yet, I always link it in the description and pinned comment, and sometimes up in the corner of the screen. Last, we already put out the January vlog where we got snow, and there's plenty more to come. But back to the storm. Simultaneously, the Northwest is getting hit with a winter storm as well, affecting the Cascades, the northern Sierra Nevada, and the northern Rockies. So a lot happening on both coasts as we move into Wednesday night. This storm keeps strengthening. Now, a big concern for my area, Southeast Virginia and Northeast North Carolina, is the potential for mixing. The European model is the southernmost of the two major models right now, and I've seen situations like this trend colder over time. If that happens, we could be looking at a classic scenario where you think you're going to get 10, 12 inches of snow, but instead you end up with 3, 6 inches with a nasty layer of ice on top. Not ideal, but definitely a possibility. Now, let's fast forward to Thursday morning. Snow is still coming down along the mid-Atlantic coast. This is going to be a long duration event. And backtracking a bit, when you combine heavy snowfall rates over an inch per hour in some cases with strong winds, you get blizzard conditions. And yes, the National Weather Service is already toying with the idea of calling this blizzard in some areas. For clarification for those who might not, blizzard isn't about how much snow falls, it's about visibility. If you've got heavy snowfall combined with strong winds creating whiteout conditions, that's a blizzard, regardless of whether you get 6 inches or 2 feet. After the storm moves out, we stay really cold through Thursday, Friday, and even into the weekend. Whatever snow falls will likely stick around for a while because temperatures won't be warm enough to melt it immediately. Looking ahead past this storm, things start to calm down for a bit, but I'm watching another system around the 25th. Right now, it's not looking like a major snowfall threat because there's just not enough cold air. But if things trend colder, that could change. And then as we move toward the very end of February and into early March, both the GFS and European models are hinting at the return of severe weather with strong storms likely in the South and Midwest. That's not surprising considering we're heading into that time of year. Taking a look at total precipitation, we're seeing a big decline in moisture for the east, while the Northwest continues to see increasing precipitation, most of which will fall as mountain snow. The European model's total snowfall map is impressive with big totals in the Rockies, Cascades, and some solid amounts from our East Coast storm as well. Now, I want to wrap up with the latest model runs. We just got the 18s run for the European model, and guess what? Another shift south. Exactly like I mentioned earlier, New Jersey and southern New England just got stripped away from the snowfall totals. Freeze as clay. This storm is favoring a more southern track. That being said, there's still room for changes. We could see it shift north again, or it could stay south. It's a big question mark, but as of now, both major models are trending in the same direction. Lastly, let's talk temperatures. This upcoming week is looking brutally cold, especially in the Midwest and East. By Wednesday, when the storm starts, temperatures in the Mid-Atlantic and Southeast are running well below normal, which is exactly what we need for this to be a significant snow event. That cold sticks around through the 23rd, but after that, we see a shift toward warmer conditions, especially in the Southeast. All right, guys, that's all I've got for you today. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I post updates every single day. Hit the bell icon so you never miss one, like the video if you found it helpful, and drop a comment below with your thoughts. I'll see you all in the next one.